Hi, this is Dr. Therese and Dr. Jackie with Healthy Choice Family Chiropractic, and we are going to go through some core strengthening exercises. So we're going to start with the basics for core strengthening, and when we're talking about core, we're not just talking about our abs, we're also talking about the muscles on the side, also those muscles into our lower back and the tops of our glutes, so the top of our booty. All of that really makes up your core muscles. And so we are going to show you just some simple core exercises to do to help to really strengthen through there. One thing you're going to notice is in this workout, you will not see any crunches and you will not see any sit-ups. And that's because with a lot of those, it's going to work our upper abdomen where we tend to already be strong. We want to focus a lot on our lower portion of our core because that's going to help really strengthen and stabilize even more with our lower back. And that's going to help to protect us from future injuries. Now, Dr. Jackie's going to be demonstrating things. I'm going to be talking through it because I just had a baby 2.5 weeks ago. So my core is not ready for most of these exercises yet. And with Dr. Jackie, we may be even altering some of her form during the exercises because she just had a baby 3 months ago. So both of us are really in that beginning portion of also re-strengthening our core. So trust us, we're at home doing these exercises right along with you. So I'm going to have you go ahead and go on to your back. We're going to start with doing a pelvic tilt. So you can see we have her laying on her back. Now with a pelvic tilt, it's a very slight and small movement, so you might not totally be able to see it, so I'm just going to walk you through it. So when we do a pelvic tilt, what we want to do is we want to feel like we're sucking our belly button right into our spine. So exactly what she's doing. She's pulling it right down like she's pushing her low back right into the floor. You want to feel like you're engaging the lower part of your abdomen, and you just hold that for 5 to 10 seconds. Okay? A couple things you want to watch for. You want to make sure that you're not bringing your knees in or pulling them out. You want them staying nice in line with your shoulders, just so that you're getting the maximal really work out of that lower part of your abdomen. We always want to start with the pelvic tilt and start with strengthening with that lower part of your abdomen, because this is going to be a base and foundation for almost every other exercise that we're going to do today. Okay? So like I said, we'll have her hold for 5 to 10 seconds. So she just pulls in, very slight movement. You may even almost feel like you're tilting a little bit through your hips. It's just going to help to engage that lower abdomen, especially if you're not used to it. You hold for 5 to 10 seconds. Then you go ahead and relax. And we recommend that you start with doing 2 sets of 10. You really want to work up to those 2 sets of 25. Okay? Now, if you're doing it, you're like, oh, I just do not even feel like I can hold that contraction anymore, then that's when it's time to stop. Okay? This is a building process. This is just going to be your foundation. Okay? Once you're got that pelvic tilt down, then you're going to move on to the second part of this progression. Okay? We like to work in progressions when it comes to all these exercises, just so we're continuously strengthening, continuously really challenging our body. So remember, going to the pelvic tilt again. You can put your arms down behind sides of you, right? And then go ahead and keep with that pelvic tilt and lift up. Perfect. So you can see how she's not bowing her abdomen forward. She's keeping everything nice and straight, which is perfect. She's keeping her knees in great alignment. And then it just allows even more work through here. Also, we want to feel like you're almost squeezing through the top of your booty. That's going to help to work even more through your core. So go ahead and let that down. Once again, you're going to hold for 5 to 10 seconds. You're going to start with doing, just like we talked about with the last one, you're going to start with doing 2 sets of 10. You want to work up to being able to do 2 sets of 25. Once you're there, then you can move on to the next part of the progression. So she's going to go back into her pelvic tilt, lift up into the bridge, and then she's going to hold there and she's going to march. So one leg at a time. Perfect. Good. So you can see how she's keeping that tight here as she's doing the movement. You can go ahead and let down. Okay? But what you'll want to do is you'll want to do 25 on each side. Same thing goes though. If you notice after 10 you're starting to bow your back, you're not able to keep that, then it's time to let down. We always want to make sure we're watching form first. If we have improper form, then we're more likely to have injury. Okay. The last part of the progression, this is going to be one for more challenge. So I'm only going to have her do a couple of them, just because, like we said, we're both in this rebuilding of our core process. But that would be doing a pelvic tilt into a leg lift. So she's going to do the pelvic tilt into the bridge. Good. She's going to bring that leg straight out. She's going to bring it down and up. Good. Perfect. You can see she is really working with that. Okay. And then go ahead and do the other side. Good. Perfect. You can go ahead and tap and you can drop down if you'd like. So with that one, what you can do it one of two ways. You can do like she did and do one leg at a time, or you can just keep going with that one single leg. Same thing, you want to ideally do 2 sets of 25, doing one leg 25 reps, the other 25, and then going back and forth again with them. But that's the end of the first pelvic tilt progression. Next thing we're gonna do is we're gonna have her turn over onto her stomach, and we're gonna go into a plank. So for a plank, we're gonna start in, actually I'm gonna have you just start up in upright position. Okay. Perfect. Sure. So for the plank, we're gonna start with having her do it on her knees, just so we can show kind of the simplest form of it. Even with the plank, you still wanna feel like you're starting off with a pelvic tilt even when you get into that plank position. That's gonna help to make sure that your back stays nice and straight. Also, when she is doing the planks today, I'll have her do them on your elbows. Some people do them on their elbows, some people do them with arms straight out. We just want to make sure you have proper form with either one. So I'm actually going to have us turn this way. There we go. Perfect. So if you want to go into the plank on your knees, good. So yep, on knees first. You want to feel like the belly button stuck to your spine. Perfect. We want to make sure that her back is nice and straight. Also want to make sure her shoulders are down, not up towards her ears, and that she's looking forward. We want to make sure that she's not looking down, cranking her head down, because that can end up adding strain towards the neck. We want to make sure that gaze is about a foot in front of her, right? And we want to make sure we're keeping that belly button tucked nice to the spine. Perfect. You can go ahead and relax, because we're going to go through the progression with it, so I don't want to tire her out on the first one. But for this, with the planks, we recommend, once again, you start holding it for 15 seconds, right? And you start with doing 2 to 3 of those, and then you can just build up with the amount of time. Okay, next one we're gonna have Dr. Jackie do is we're gonna have her go into a plank on her toes. So she's in full plank position now. We wanna make sure we keep that belly button sucked right up. So you can tell that this one for her is a little bit challenging. Yeah. And so it's a little bit challenging, so I'm gonna help kind of hold her up just so I can show you. Because we do not want her belly bowing down. That's gonna add stress to her low back. Also, we don't wanna feel like she's piking her booty up in the air. So we want that nice and straight back through here. So I'll let you drop. But with that, that's where it's right now, like I said, we're in the rebuilding phase with our core. Yep. So that's where some of these positions you may see us even struggling with them a little bit, just because they're a challenge, and they're supposed to be, but that's how we rebuild some strength. So once again, you'll want to start with holding that just for 10 to 15 seconds. Anytime you have improper form or you feel like you're not able to hold it, you want to drop down. And really, we recommend working up towards being able to hold that position for a minute at a time, okay? Next thing you'll want to do, your next part of the progression after the plank would be doing a side plank. So I'm going to have Dr. Jackie just go into a half side plank with your one knee down. So I'm going to have you go ahead onto your side. Perfect. So we're going to show it with doing the modified version first. So with that, she is going to just go up on her top toe, but she's going to keep one knee down, just so that it's not as big of a challenge for her. So you can even do this. You can straighten that out, put your toe down so that you can do that, but you can see how she has a little bit more stability with holding in her knee, okay? We want to make sure we're keeping belly button stuck to the spine. Yep, looking nice straight ahead, keeping that shoulder down so we're not cranking it up towards our ears. Once again, you'll start with holding for 10 seconds, working your way up to 60. After that is easy, then you can go into a full side plank. With that, yep, you're just gonna be on both your toes. Perfect. And you would hold through here. Once again, you wanna make sure that your body is in one nice straight line, which she is doing perfect with that. Good, the next progression from this would be to do something called threading the needle. Do you wanna try it?
We'll try it.
Perfect. So you're gonna have your arm up, and then you're gonna do a little twist, like you're bringing your arm through, and then coming back up. This is just giving even more challenge towards the core, and it's working obviously not only her muscles of her whole abdomen, but also it's working a lot with her oblique muscles, so on the side, and it even does cause you to work those muscles in your spine too and in your lower back. Good, perfect. So that is it for our plank progression. Next we're gonna do is bird dogs. So for that, we're gonna have Dr. Jackie start where she is in what I call tabletop position. So knees are going to be shoulder width apart, hands down right in front of, or right below her shoulders. Good, so we're gonna start with just a simple portion of the bird dog. So we're gonna start with her just lifting her arms up one at a time. Good, she's holding, while doing that, she's holding that pelvic tilt, so sucking her belly button to her spine. But you can see with this, it's causing her to work some with her core. Also, it is causing her to really have to work on strengthening the upper portion of her back. So many of us, especially being on computers a lot, we're hunched, we're slouched forward. These muscles are really getting turned off. This will help to activate those muscles again. You can see how her gaze is about a foot in front of her. She's not cranking her head forward, just keeping it nice in alignment, okay? You'll start with doing this one with the arms up. You'll hold it there for about 5 seconds and then let them down just like she was doing. And then you'll end up doing 2 sets of 25 with, or actually I should say about 50 overall, so you're doing 25 on each side, right? After that, if that's easy, then you can go ahead into the second portion of that. So once again, if you want to come back into the tabletop position, good, perfect. And then you're just gonna lift one leg at a time. So when you're lifting the leg, you want to feel like you're squeezing at the top of your booty once again. Yep, keeping toe down, just so that it helps to activate the muscles through here in your hamstring also. You can go ahead and let down, and then do the other side. Good, you can see how she's going nice, slow. It's nice, controlled movements. She's holding each one at the top for a couple seconds. Good, and then letting it down. Perfect, and you should feel like you're definitely getting some work up through here, yes?
Oh, yeah. Yep.
And then also you can see how she's still keeping belly button stuck to the spine. We want to make sure we're doing that with each one of these movements, okay? Once again, you can go ahead and sit back for a moment if you'd like. Once again, you would do that, doing each side 25 times, just to make sure that you're really activating there. The next part of the progression with the bird dogs is going to be doing opposite arm, opposite leg at the same time. So I'll have her go back into that tabletop position, keeping belly button stuck to the spine. Good, she's going to end up lifting the leg and arm at the same time. You can see how she's holding that muscle contraction. Good, and let it down. And then she's gonna do the same thing opposite. So you can see once again, it's a really controlled movement. She's really working on keeping her hips nice and square as she's lifting up, keeping her belly button stuck to her spine as she's doing that. She's working her upper back on one side, her lower back on the other, and booty on the other. So she's really working each area of her spine. Good, and of her core. Good, you can go ahead and sit back. So with that, once again, you would want to do that you're doing each side 25 times, so about 50 reps total, and then that will definitely get that whole core workout. Next one we're gonna do is dead bugs, and I'm gonna have Dr. Jackie talk through it as she is doing it. So for this one, she will be on her back.
Yeah, so for a dead bug, we're gonna start off on our back. And with this, you wanna make sure that, again, you're keeping that core engaged, kind of like that pelvic tilt. You're keeping that nice and flat, keeping the back flat. What you're gonna do is you're gonna bring the legs up so that you're at a 90-degree angle all the way around, arms straight up. There are progressions for this as well. You're gonna start off with just the arms. You're gonna bring arm down and up, arm down and up, keeping that core engaged. The next progression is the legs. So again, straightening that leg, bringing that down and up, keeping that core engaged.
Now I will say for this one, it's a little bit more challenging of an exercise even to start because you are keeping your legs up the whole time.
Correct.
If you feel like your low back is not able to stay engaged with the floor, if you feel it bowing up,
Yep.
then you are not ready for this exercise yet.
Correct.
You want to hold off on it just because this does challenge that core so much more because you are keeping your legs bent at 90 for such a longer period of time.
Absolutely.
And then she's going to show you the last part of this progression.
So the last progression, again, you're keeping the arms up. You're going to be doing opposite arm and opposite leg. So, well, as I'm doing it, okay. So
we're doing opposite arm, opposite leg.
There. Recording. I have to think about it.
We gotcha.
There we go.
So yeah, so she's going to be bringing this one down and this one down at the same time.
Yep.
And do that side of you.
Yep. I want to go this way, correct? Yes. Sorry. Getting backwards. There we go.
See, sometimes it's a mind conundrum for us too.
It is. Yep.
So that's where it's sometimes it's easier to have someone almost tap on it. So you want to feel like you're doing these two at the same time.
Yep.
Good. And now these two.
Yeah, and you want to go
Good.
straight down.
Yep, and these two. So arm to the outside. Good, perfect. And these two, arm to the outside. Good, these two. I'm gonna say we're gonna do one more. Good, and these two. These two. So opposite arm. So this is where also it's a workout for your mind too, along with your body. And if you have mom brains like we do, then it can make it a little bit more challenging at times. But with that, you can see how it works opposite arm, opposite leg. This is, with that last one, I should say, it works opposite arm, opposite leg. With that also, something that we didn't talk about is when you're doing opposite arm, opposite leg workouts, that actually is also a great exercise for your brain. We weren't joking about that. It actually helps to link the two sides of your brain together. That's why like things like crawling are so important for kids. It also helps us as adults, even helps with our fine motor skills and coordination. So it does help with that overall. So it's great to do some of those opposite exercises, okay? Last one that we are going to do is a Superman. Now, Supermans, I'll be honest, I'm not a fan of Superman. I do not do them because I have an issue with my lower back that prevents me from doing them. With Supermans, if you are someone who, when you bend back, you have an increase in lower back pain, this is not the exercise for you, okay? I have a small disc space between my lowest vertebrae and my tailbone, so I have a tendency to get those joints pinched together. This is not a good exercise for me. I do not do this. Also, if you have had x-rays of your lower back, and you were ever told you had something called a spondylolisthesis or a spondy, or you were told that one of your vertebrae is shifted forward on the other, this once again is not an exercise for you to do. Okay, that's part of the reason why we as chiropractors take x-rays of everyone who comes into our office before we adjust them, because it can affect how we adjust them. Also exercises and stretches that we give to someone. So this is the disclaimer. If you have any of that, do not do this exercise, okay? And really, like with any of the exercises that we showed you today, if any of them cause any increase in pain or discomfort, stop doing them. Let us know on your next visit, or if you are not currently under care and you have questions about them, definitely feel free to contact us. We can set up a free consultation and be able to discuss health concerns that you have and what you have going on. So that is, though, a big disclaimer on this exercise. That's why I'm saying I will not be doing this, okay? So I'm gonna have Dr. Jackie go onto her stomach. She's gonna have Superman. It's really just like it says, arms out in front of you like you're a Superman, okay? And once again, there's a progression with this one too. You're gonna see how her gaze once again is engaged about a foot in front of her. Now with this, we are gonna start with her lifting up, sorry about that.
That's okay.
One arm at a time, then we'll end up having her do one leg at a time. Then we'll do opposite arm, opposite leg, and then all four at once, right? So it's a progression, just like with any of them. You always wanna start in the most simplest form of it, which is always gonna start with arms. So you're gonna go ahead and lift one arm up, good, and the other. Go a little bit slower for me. Good, perfect. You can see that slight hold at the top. That's exactly what we want. When she's lifting the arm up, it's engaging through here in her upper back. Also, she's working on strengthening through the back of the neck, especially if you're someone text neck, you're down a lot, that weakens. She's really working on engaging through there, okay? Once again, you'll wanna start with just doing 25 on each side, okay? If it's easy, you can go ahead to the second portion of the progression, which then her arms are gonna stay down. She's just gonna be lifting one leg at a time. When she's doing that, you can see her lift it straight up, that slight hesitation at the top. She's squeezing through the top of her glute. And when she does that, she's also engaging the opposite side of her lower back muscles, which is perfect, okay? Once again, she would do 25 on each side, okay? If this is easy, then you can go on to the next portion of the progression, which I will have her lifting opposite arm, opposite leg at the same time. Good, and now she's gonna do the other one. Good, once again, you can see slight hesitation at the top, which is perfect. Now she's engaging her muscles on her upper back and lower back on one side, booty on the other. That's exactly what we want. Good, just once again, she would do 25 on each side. If it was easy, then she'd go on to the next portion of the progression. You can go ahead and relax for a moment. With that, I'm gonna have her lifting up both arms and both legs on one time. At one time, this is a full Superman. Only have her holding it for 5 seconds. That's how I recommend that you start at. So I'm gonna go ahead and have you lift up. So she'll hold for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and down. You can go ahead and relax for a moment. So you can see how she's engaging her tops of her arms, her back muscles, tops of her glutes, even some with her hamstrings to keep everything really nice and elevated. Okay, you can see once again, she's looking straight ahead. She's not cranking her neck down. That'll help to prevent injuries or anything with her neck also. And with that, I would have her start with holding for 5 seconds, work on holding that for up to 30 seconds, and doing that about 10 times and 2 sets of that, okay? You can go ahead and come up. That is the end of our low, or our core and really low back workout through half of it, of exercises that we are demonstrating and giving you today. If you have any questions about any of those exercises, or if you have a question about how it pertains to you, if it's something that you should specifically be doing or not, if it's a good exercise for you, we just showed the basics of a great core workout. But you can definitely give us a call here at our office, 616-426-8500, or email us at info@healthychoicefamilychiropractic.com so we can make sure that we are helping you make the healthiest choices for you and for your family.